All right, good morning, everyone. Everybody have a good night last night? I took some photos of you guys having ice cream, or you guys having ice cream in the middle of the freezing cold. Anyway, Jamie's ice cream deconstructed halfway. He caught it, and he caught it in his hand as it was falling, and then he reconstructed it back into a cone. Yes. So today we're going on a light aeroplane, a helicopter, and a boat. All my favorite things. We're just missing the train. Excuse me. All right. So does anyone have any questions, comments, observations they've had from yesterday? So yesterday, just to recap, we spoke about the flow and what the flow is. We spoke about the construction and deconstruction of formless energy and form energy being constructed and deconstructed. We spoke about the flow just being the movement of energy, but otherwise it's the same of the energy that you experience when you're being still, when you're experiencing the openness or the expansiveness of empty space, when you're experiencing the nothingness with everything. There's a stillness there, but when you move that energy, you experience it as the flow. Most people only identify as the flow as something that is constructing, in other words, manifesting into form. But if you're not aware enough, you're missing the deconstruction of the form to formless. Now, yesterday, after we turned the cameras off, a couple of you guys brought up a good point. And you said that, well, I'm attached to the deconstruction of the form. So the form being deconstructed into formless, because I don't want to lose that. But I made a really good point, which is we want to revisit, and that is that it's not necessarily, it could be a disease that is deconstructing. It could be a way of life. It could be a limitation that is deconstructing. It could be financial worries. It could be anything. Okay? In saying that, though, your mind is already kicking in, going, oh, so it could be a bad thing that's deconstructing. Well, I want my bad things to deconstruct. The truth is, there is no bad thing. You just labeled an energy and you reinforced. In the moment you labeled an energy, because remember at the beginning we said all there is energy. It's just one energy. The moment you label or judge the energy, you give it parameters and you reinforce that energy to continue to stay in that place. It's like you give it a body. Like right now, you are energy and you've given yourself a parameter called a body. So then you can identify yourself as I'm here, I'm continuing to be here. Every moment, you are in this moment reconstructing and deconstructing. Yesterday, we were driving past these mountains and I had a few of the guys with me and I said, you know, that's what's called a Föhn cloud, F-O-H-N. And we're talking about mountain wave clouds and Föhn clouds. And I said that the interesting thing about that cloud, right, you know, I'm going to talk about meteorology because it's part of aviation. But the interesting thing about that cloud is that it's actually different from all the other clouds. And the difference is that cloud is not moving. It's stationary. If you notice all the other clouds around it, it's moving. But that cloud seems like it's stationary. It's not really stationary, but it is. The reason it's stationary is because that cloud is formed by wind being pushed up a mountain, moisture being raised up the mountain, temperature drops, it forms into cloud, right? But that cloud is continuously constructing and deconstructing at the same time, and you can't see it. But if you look closely, it's continuously forming and deforming. It's continuously constructing and deconstructing, so it seems like it's stationary. But it's actually not the same cloud. You think, oh, look at that cloud. It's not moving. You can look this up. You look at the top of the mountain, you'll see it. And it's usually on one side of the mountain, because what happens is it forms on one side, and then latent heat gets released once a cloud is formed, and then hot air runs down on the other side of the mountain. That's why when you see sometimes, like in Hawaii or even over here, one side of the mountain is completely dry, and the other side of the mountain is always raining, and it's always wet, and it's on the mountain side is always green. Yeah, you've seen that before?
Well, I was wondering, like, why there aren't any trees on that side? And yeah.
There you go. That's because the wind is always coming from that direction. It's pushing up the mountain. It's always forming clouds on one side. Once it forms the cloud, latent heat gets released from the cloud, and then hot air descends on the other side of the hot, dry air. But that's a perfect little metaphor, which I was trying to tell the guys. You know, that is a cloud that, I mean, all clouds are continuously constructing and deconstructing. But that's the perfect description of something that is getting constructed and deconstructed, because it's actually standing in one spot. It's only constructing where the wind is rising up the mountain and where it reaches what's called dew point, and it manifests into a cloud. And then it deconstructs. So it looks like, you see it on top of mountains all the time. It looks like there's this cloud that just hangs there. Why isn't it moving? I mean, the wind's blowing. Why is all the other clouds moving? But this cloud just hangs on the edge of the mountain. I bet you'll see it today in the flights. You'll see some of those clouds and go, there's the Föhn cloud. And there's something similar called the mountain wave cloud, which is something that's not similar, it's different. But lenticular cloud. Who loves meteorology? Okay. So that is something that's continuously constructing and deconstructing. You look out for it, since we're out in these mountains. Otherwise, the guys who are watching on the video can Google it and they can see. So what else we talk about? We spoke about the deconstruction. Yep.
I mean, we had a great chat last night, but that's the same for everything though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's the cloud. So that mic isn't the same mic that I looked at when I last looked at it. So everything is constantly deconstructing and reconstructing in every single moment.
In every single moment.
The same thing.
That's why in the WTF we speak about that there's nothing here. The moment you walk into this room, you are constructing this room to be here. And when you walk out, and then when you walk back, you construct the same room. That's what's actually happening. Now, when I say you, I'm not talking about you as the constructed, as the manifested, because you're not doing that. You are part of the story. You don't have any power. Okay? I'm talking about the you that is formless. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to put this power, this energy into a little bit of a pyramid or a hierarchy, okay? Just so you can identify with it. Because the truth is, everything is energy, and everything is the same energy expressing or manifesting itself into different forms. That some of that energy has manifested itself into physical form, okay? The ocean, the clouds, the air you breathe, the bodies, the ground, the rocks, whatever. Okay? The other part of that energy is manifested itself into a form of an emotion. And that emotion you identify with, I'm feeling this. Both is the same energy. And then the energy that's formless, which is what you're experiencing when when we do the oneness meditation in the WTF, when you are in that being state, in that stillness state, in that expansive state, in the nothingness that we describe about. Okay? When you're experiencing everything, that energy is the same. It's just formless energy. So the first thing that I want to establish here is that all energy is the same. There's only one energy, and it is vibrating or expressing itself into different forms. Emotional form, physical form, or just formlessness. But it's all the same energy, different vibration. Do you know, like, you see the clouds right now and on this fog coming in, right? That has formed into a cloud, right? But what did it form from? It actually formed from the nothing. Before that, it was a, what do we call it? Go back to meteorology here. I won't go into it right now. But it's nothing. It's just vapor. There you go. It's just vapor. You don't see it until it drops to a certain temperature. Then it changes its form into what's called cloud. Can you see? We talk about the iceberg all the time. It's just an ocean, all right? A part of the ocean freezes itself into an iceberg, and then you go, it's a solid. But what's a solid really? It's just a different form of water. It's a different form of energy. So the first thing I want to establish here is it's all energy and it's all one energy. Because the moment I put this into a hierarchy, right, your mind's going to kick in and go, oh, that's better, or it's different. It's not. It's the same. It's just forming itself into different things. Are we clear about that? All right. Okay. So I want to articulate this in a way for you to be able to identify with the energy and its power, if you like. Once the iceberg becomes an iceberg, its capacity or its strength or its size, let's just talk about size being power, is limited compared to the ocean that it's floating in. So the ocean is just so vast, so big, but when the ocean manifests a part of itself, or when a part of the ocean freezes into what's called this massive iceberg, doesn't matter how big the iceberg is, if it's the size of a country or continent, doesn't matter how big it is, it's now limited. Yes? So you could say that the ocean, the size of the ocean is far greater than the size of the iceberg. Can we say that? You could, and if we want to give this example, you could say the ocean is far more powerful than the iceberg. Can you say that? Okay. So we're talking about something solid and liquid here, but bring that back into formlessness and form. What do you think holds greater power? If I had to put this into an order of higher and lower, right? It's all the same, right? But if I had to, once once the energy has formed or constructed or deconstructed, what's most powerful?
The formless.
The formless. So the formless energy is the most powerful, is the greatest energy, if you like, there is. Right? What's then next on there?
Formed.
The formed. And what's in between?
Deconstruction and construction.
The forming or the construction or deconstruction. So the movement of energy. So that emptiness energy, which we talk about is infinity, it's got the greatest amount of space, power, whatever you want to call it. The movement of energy, then it loses some of its power, right? Then once it has formed, that is the lowest form of energy. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Why? How do you know that?
What it is. It's like when you say I am.
Excuse me, yeah. It's limited, yeah.
When something takes form, it's finite.
Yeah.
It has a beginning and an end.
Bound by that structure.
Yeah. Anyone else?
It cannot be anything else. It's the same thing, but...
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you may wonder, well, why we're sharing this. So since we're talking a little bit about meteorology, because I said I want to give you something that's tangible, scientific. Is it science, babe, meteorology? It is. I've become a scientist. Actually, before I give you, describe a little bit about meteorology, I'm going to use meteorology as a metaphor here. So it's perfect, all right? It's fun. It's great. You guys are going to go onto this aeroplane and you're going to be telling the pilot, well, that's that kind of cloud forming there, but there's going to be a gap there. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So now that we know that, I mean, of course you already knew that, right? But now that we've established that point, right? How does something form and how does something, like in the ocean, it changes temperature. So there's a part of the water that changes temperature, so therefore the frequency of the water changes and freezes. So turns or transforms. What does trans mean? Trans? Who can tell me what trans means?
Between two places.
Sally, what does trans mean?
Movement.
Movement. Better be. I'm trusting you.
Transport is like...
Okay, so transforms, so it's the movement of the form.
Or change.
Okay? It transforms from liquid into solid. Okay. So how is this transformation taking place? This construction. Now, construction and deconstruction is what fits into this one word that I just used, transforms. Okay? Both construction and deconstruction, which is the movement of energy, which is the flow, all right? The effect or the result or the outcome from this construction and deconstruction is transforming. That's what you're doing. This is what is taking place. You are continuously transforming. So, we know how the water changes form into an ice. Well, how does it? Let's establish that. Temperature drops, okay. And then how does the iceberg change back into the water? Temperature rise. All right? Okay. So how is form or formless, how is formless transforming into form? How is form transforming into formlessness? This is very, very, very similar in this metaphor that I'm going to give you to meteorology. Nature's a beautiful thing to study, what I've learned recently. It's funny because I have an interest in meteorology purely because I fly, right? And I've really you should ask Sal, when I'm studying about meteorology, I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly what happens with us. This is identical. You study nature, you study yourself.
It's the constant movement of energy.
Yeah.
Constantly. Because if the temperature were to drop, then we'd just be frozen.
Yeah.
It has to have.
So how is formless changing into form? Is it got to do with temperature?
Frequency.
It's doing it itself.
Frequency?
Well, I keep coming back to I imagine what I desire.
Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Why do you keep coming back to that? Why is that popping up for you?
Because I feel like the deconstruction is also a manifestation.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I have to take my time.
Attention.
Hey?
Attention.
Okay. Attention.
Intention.
Intention. I don't want to just give you the answer. If I see that you're not finding the answer, right, or, it's not popping up for you, I will start to tell you about meteorology and tell you about how clouds form until you get it.
I don't know how this relates to meteorology, but for me, power, or the infinite, is being focused into a pattern or the frequency, and you have a form. Once the power is no longer focusing on that pattern, you have a deconstruction of that form. So the power has to always refocus in the pattern of the next form.
Okay. So I want to get this to be so simple. So we're just going to keep digging deeper here. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand what the question is? I'll just re-establish the question again so everyone understands. We know how water turns into ice. And we know how ice turns into water. And we even know how water turns into
Vapor.
vapor. Hello? What's vapor?
Energy.
Formless.
Formless. You're getting the metaphor now. Vapor is the formlessness. Okay? Water is what? Flow like water. Bruce Lee says, you must flow like water. Be like water. It's the flow. And what's solid? Form. Okay, so scientifically, we understand how vapor turns into water and how water turns into ice. We also understand how ice form turns into water, flow. Water flows. Water flows within the body it is encompassed in. The body that it lives. So that water will only flow within the river. The water will flow within the ocean. It's within a body. The energy moves when you've given a body a stream. Energy will only move when you've created a stream, a space for the ocean. Water. And then we also know how water becomes vapor. The reason we have all this vapor, all this clouds, because that's what clouds is just forming from vapor, is because there is moisture, which is energy. Okay, I won't go into that part yet. We understand that. So you're starting to see my metaphor here that I'm going to be playing with. It's identical. And we understand how that takes place. So the question is, how does formless energy transform itself through the flow movement of energy into form? How does then, now that's something you guys probably have considered quite a lot on your path, how, like in manifestation, we spoke about that in month 3, I think, of OMG, where we speak about formless energy manifesting itself into form, or if you like, formless energy forming. The flow is a forming process or an unforming process. It's forming itself into form, all right? But what we're going to consider now is, okay, how does that take place energetically? Here's a little signpost for you so you don't go on the wrong track. Energetic, because everything's energy, so let's just talk about the process energetically. It's just energy. Just to simplify what you said there, Big John, just a moment ago, I wanted this to be so simple. What is the process energetically that this takes place? But then also, what is the process energetically from form flowing, transforming into formlessness. That part most people don't consider as much. Everyone's always considering, how do I manifest into form? And it's the form actually asking that, which is kind of interesting. The form must first become the formless to transform something. The iceberg must first become the water. The iceberg must first become the ocean to transform the shape of a new iceberg. And I'm not talking about death here, but as they say, the death of the ego. So, now that we're very, very clear about what's the question, we know how it happens with nature. How does it happen with energy? I mean, by the way, nature is energy also that has formed.
Science there needs to be like a catalyst to trigger a reaction.
What needs to be a catalyst?
There needs to be a
Good. There needs to be a catalyst. So what's the catalyst?
decision.
I think, I mean, if it's a true decision, you'll notice it's a movement of energy and you realize you're doing something. So it's not the typical decision that we've covered this in previous OMGs, just to make sure that we're clear about that.
Well, it's like imagination decision, like it's being imagined or the desire.
Mm-hmm.
The movement of energy of itself, like it's like will, that's willing of itself to become something. Through the imagination.
And when you ask the question, how does it form? Like, it's the first thing that came to me was like, it has to be one with it.
One with what? What has to be one with it? What or who are you talking about?
It has to be one.
So how does, again, go back to nature?
It's a natural occurring kind of destiny sort of thing, I suppose. You know, it's just the way life is, and it evolves from the gases to the vapours.
Okay.
So it's not separate, it's all one and the same thing. It's energy moving. It's never separate from itself. It's becoming something else.
Sal?
Can I comment?
Hey? Yeah, you can. Of course. Well, you can't just tell everyone the answer because you read my notes. I could tell everyone the answer, but the point is for them to dig deep. Okay? And I will give you the scientific answer today. I'm not going to give you the entire answer because I want you to search.
What are you asking me?
I was going to get you to get my meteorology book I have upstairs. Actually, give me that iPad. I've got some notes.
Can you phrase the question?
Okay. Thanks. Thank you. So the question is, we used this iceberg in the water so much along our journey of talking about form and the formless. It's a great metaphor. So then I started to ask you the question, well, how does ice turn into the water? Or how does the water turn into ice? Well, it's easy. Change of temperature.
But it's not just temperature.
What else is it?
I'm not going to comment, but don't just focus on the temperature, because what changes the temperature?
Well, what does change the temperature?
Weather.
There's the space too.
Absolutely.
Needs a lot more space.
Hey?
Vapor needs a lot more space.
Very good.
Water needs more space than an iceberg. Like, it's like things start condensing when it becomes the form.
When something has, and that's what humidity has a lot to do with. The reason you experience humidity is because space. Like if there's a lot of space, the humidity will be less. If the space is reducing, if the humidity could increase if there's a lot of vapor, right? So yes, it has to do with space. If there's small space, the temperature would be low. Okay, this is actually true meteorology stuff. If there's more space, okay, usually when the temperature is increased, is that right?
Yeah, that's why I would like.
Pressure.
So it's not, don't think it's a small space, it's in a small room, it's a pressure.
So when you put half a glass of water in a jar in the freezer, it wants to expand.
This is actually, I don't know what you just said, but this is how a freezer works. Freezer works through pressure. Okay, it creates pressure which reduces the temperature. Just so you know, this is how a freezer works. So what Sally's pointing out there is, okay, we know it's to do with temperature, but what makes the temperature change? But I don't want to get too scientific, but...
And that wasn't what I was going.
Okay, well, tell us what you're going for. Well, I find what I... Hey?
Well, it's the same as what makes the wind blow. It's not just it's not a decision to make the wind blow. There's changes in energy or something in the molecules change to make that temperature change.
That's because the movement is happening. It's not like winds blowing. It's the space. Going back to what you said, it's the change in the temperature and the desire for a different space.
Yeah, and that takes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's energy change that occurs to.
What makes the wind blow is pressure. Okay, we have high pressure and low pressure. So right now you're experiencing low pressure coming out there, right? Low pressure makes the wind turn clockwise. High pressure is anti-clockwise.
It's just energy.
Absolutely, pressure is energy.
So it creates pressure.
So what are you saying?
So I'm saying that rather than just being a change in temperature, there's a change in energy. There has to be an energy flow in one direction or another, or absorption to change the temperature, and then hence create ice or vapor.
Okay, she's on the right track.
Is it like expansion and contraction? It's like when it's expanded.
Yes.
Open and it's free flowing. But as it's contracting, I feel like contraction is when
It might change.
Temperatures change.
Yeah.
Okay, when energy is contracting or energy is expanding, right, temperatures change.
For me, what you're talking about is like when I feel love for something, there's space. There has to be space. There has to be possibilities now in having love for something. But then it's when that something arrives or constructs, the space becomes smaller things. You focus on the result, the outcome of it.
All right, I'm going to give you, from my friend here, Bob Tate. Bob Tate is a aviation guy, and I've been reading his book on meteorology. So he's an Australian guy. So this I'm reading from his book, and it's just some notes about meteorology for commercial pilots. You'd be quite amazed. I mean, the wording for this, I'm going to read it nice and slow. The wording for this. So right now, because I'm not getting what I want from the formless part, like from where I want to go back into science and describe to you the process of meteorology or the process of form changing, okay? And if you can understand, because right now you'll go, oh yeah, it's just change of temperature, but there's a little bit more. But how does the temperature change and what actually takes place, okay? So this is what I'm going to read to you. I'm going to just read some basic stuff. What's the main stuff that I want to give you? Okay, so these are things that we've covered already, but I'll read it. Water exists in the atmosphere in 3 states depending on the energy processed by its molecules. It's funny he uses the word energy. Ice. This is the lowest energy state in which water exists. It is a solid state in which each individual water molecule remains in a fixed position in relation to its neighbor. What are we describing there? You want to read that again?
Duality.
Duality. This is the lowest energy state in which water exists. It is a solid state in which each individual water molecule remains in a fixed position in relation to its neighbor. Yes? I had to read this quite a lot to be able to see what I'm actually sharing with you, so you probably watch the video again. The next state is liquid. This is the next highest state in which water exists. Individual water molecules can move within the body of the liquid. Most of the water on Earth exists in this state. Okay? So the point I want to highlight, individual water molecules can move, again we talked about movement, can move about within the body of the liquid. Yes? Vapor. This is the highest energy state in which water exists. Individual water molecules can move about in a 3 dimensions. Individual water molecules can move about in 3 dimensions to occupy all of the space available. You guys seeing what I'm seeing? It's identical to what we're talking about. So now it feels all of the space. It's in all places at the same time. Yes? So this is the part I'm getting to. This is the part that's going to be identical to what we're going to be sharing. How form changes form into formlessness. Listen very carefully. Water cannot change from one state to another without a change of heat energy taking place. All right, I'll say that again. Water cannot change from one state to another without an exchange. Did I say change or exchange?
You said change.
Excuse me. Yeah. Water cannot change from one state to another without an exchange of heat energy taking place. For water to change its state from ice to liquid or from liquid to vapor, it must take heat energy from the environment. It must take heat energy, okay, from the environment. Forget about heat, it must take energy, right? Remember Sal talked about it was about energy. To change its state from vapor to liquid or from liquid to ice, it must give energy out to the environment. So I've just described to you 2 processes. One is taking energy, the other one is giving energy. We spoke about this I think I spoke about this last night, and I'll re-establish what we spoke about last night. When we said, the cameras weren't on for this, so we'll re-establish. When we said that on this journey, I've always noticed, and I've said this a long time, that people always say it's always about giving. It's about the service, right? And for me, I realized, well, really, I don't find that I find it's all about me. And people go, well, it's not about you. That's being selfish. It was all about me taking from my experience. It was everything that was taking place was for me. Once I have experienced what I need to experience for me, I notice that it becomes about taking what's in the inside and bringing it out. And that's when you are giving energy. There's two explanations here. One is taking energy, one is giving energy. This heat energy, which is always involved in change of state, is called latent heat. You don't need to know that. Each of the change of state process is given a name indicated below. which I don't think we need to go into right now. You know, solid turning into liquid is called melting or fusion, again, which is we're describing as flow. Liquid water turning, we don't need to know all this stuff. This is more for me. All right. So now you know exactly how it changes form in meteorology. Okay? Just highlight that point. There's 2 points there. All right? One is giving energy, one is taking energy. He's drawn a diagram here, which I may share with you because I think it will help you ingrain in your mind which is what. But if I asked you right now, if we stay with meteorology just for another 5 minutes. Which one is giving energy? When what is forming? When what is changing form?
When you bring it into the form, you give it back.
When you're giving in...
You're making it like, so when liquid becomes ice, you're giving energy.
Okay, so it's from the highest energy to the lowest energy, you're giving energy. Big clue.
Expression.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's the first part of 6 months of OMG is the internal.
Yes.
It's bringing it out into the...
So what's the internal then? It's the taking of energy.
Yes.
Taking going within.
So what's the process of taking?
Almost like awakening into yourself.
Yeah, but in this example, taking of energy,
Turn into vapor.
so it's the solid turning into water or vapor. And by the way, this next part which I was going to read, there's a process. Solid ice doesn't have to turn into water before it turns into vapor. There's another clue there for you. It's actually called sublimation. Is that right? Sublimation? Better know for that for my exam. It is called. When solid doesn't go through the process of melting, it turns straight into, and this is what's taking place when you walk into a room. Okay? Or actually the other way around. Yeah, the other way around. When vapor or formless, there's a process called depositation. Okay, depositation is when vapor doesn't turn into water, it goes from vapor directly into ice. In other words, formless directly into form. It doesn't go through that process. The ice doesn't come first. There's no flow, it's just boom. You walk into the room, bang. Oh, the room's here. Can you see what I'm saying? And then the process of solid not melting but going directly into vapor is called sublimation. Not evaporation, sublimation. Okay? But you don't need to know that. I'm just letting you know there is that process in this science as well. So because you may think, oh, it has to go into water first, and no, it can skip one state. All right, relax. I'll tell you now what I want to share with you. If you can see this as a little pyramid, the highest energy is what? Formless. So forget about meteorology now. All right? I won't bore you with meteorology now. All right? I'm only giving that to you because if you wanted to hey?
It's a reference point.
It's a reference point for you to go back to refer. I'll print that page for you. How about that? Okay? Or I'll get that page emailed to you or something. Okay? So you can read what we just spoke about. Or you've got the video. So the highest energy is formless energy. Yes? The lowest energy is form energy. A good way for you to see this, all right, because as Niv said before, to go from highest form to lowest form, what is the energy doing? It's giving energy. To go from lowest form to highest form, what's it doing? Taking. Just so will you remember that? I don't know. But just so I'll give you exactly what Bob taught me in the book. If you see it as a pyramid, all right, to climb the pyramid, if you're climbing the pyramid, what do you need to do? You need to take energy. There needs to be energy taken. But if you're going down the pyramid, there's not much energy. You can give energy. Can you see what I'm saying? Yes? This is very important. Everything is energy, and so far, just to re-establish, everything is energy. We spoke about energy is changing form, and now we're talking about the process of the changing of form. Very simple, all right? One process is taking energy. One process is giving energy. Now, what does it mean to take energy or to give energy? That's what I wanted to establish. First, I wanted you to understand that little model I built for you. Can you grasp that model before we go into the next part?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes? From formless energy to go into form, it gives. From form to transform back into formless, it takes energy. If we can identify what it means, all right, if we can define at a deeper level, what does it mean to take energy? What does it mean to give energy? And that is what I want you to ponder over today. What is it to take energy? What is it? What is it to give energy? What are you doing? Are you giving someone a hug? Are you giving a banana a hug? Like, if you want to if you're manifesting, because as the formless part of you does manifest.
Giving of yourself and taking of yourself.
I want you to ponder on that. It's far more simple than what you just said.
Space.
It's far more simple. So far, I've simplified this very much for you. We've even got a very, very clear scientific explanation of how it happens with nature. That, how it happens, taking of energy and giving of energy, is exactly how it happens with life, with who you truly are, right? But we've established it's giving or taking, but what is it to give energy and what is it to take energy?
I'm thinking about when you have a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're pregnant, you're bringing something into form, in the formless, really.
Yeah.
And then,
So you're giving birth.
yeah, but you're also giving energy because the baby takes your energy. It takes the mother's energy in order to become, a full being.
Right. Okay. So you're giving energy, but are you taking energy there as well?
I don't think you're taking energy in that part because you're forming.
Okay. So you're giving energy to some other form?
Yeah.
Okay,
To
you explain.
create another form. You're giving energy to create a form.
Okay. Big John?
Well, it seems to me to give energy, the infinite must constrict. To take energy, the constricted or finite has to expand.
Yep. Good explanation.
So it's both, it's the constant. Because if you're giving energy to the baby, you're taking
Yeah.
in order to give.
Both is always simultaneously happening, just like your breath. What am I doing there?
Taking,
What am I doing there?
giving.
Is it giving and receiving love?
Is it giving and receiving love?
Whether you give yourself love or accept love as going internal, whereas if you're giving love to the external,
energy is love, right? When you give energy or take love or take energy, it is love. You're right? But I don't want anyone here to get woo-woo and go, okay, well, I need to go and just give love to what I want to manifest. Like,
I suppose I was thinking more about the receiving.
The receiving love.
Or yeah, taking energy.
I'm not going to say anything like this. This is the component, like what you're saying, yes. And I just want you. You're going to all come up with different versions of whatever all you're saying is on the money, right? On the point. But I just want to continue until you come to the most simplest explanation, and that's what I want to share with you. The simplest explanation, because the simplest explanation is one that is livable. You could live that. So everything's energy. Energy is manifesting into form and unmanifesting into formless. It's happening. We now describe the process of meteorology. Meteorology talk about how one process is taking energy, one process is giving energy. Where's it taking energy from? Its environment. Those were the words. Or it's giving energy to what? Its environment. You can call that space, or you can call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. Same thing. It's a big point to arrive at. Okay, one's giving energy, one's taking. Okay, but what is giving energy? How do you give energy? Like, I know you're like, well, you can't explain it. Well, yes, we can. It's going to be so simple that you can. How do you give energy? And how do you take energy? Because you can't give energy unless you take it first. That's why I always say, well, people go, it's about the service. No, it's about you. When it's all about you and you've completed you notice it's about others. Why? Because you have so much to give. You're coming from a higher plane, if you like. You've got so much energy, you're not working for it. Like you're giving energy to the environment. You're giving energy to other people. You're giving energy to things, not just other people impacting people or the world. You give energy to things. Things are the things that you're manifesting in your life. You give energy to form. Again, I'm not trying to get you to all be master manifestors. I just want you to notice this process is taking place right now. How you are giving energy to things and how you are taking energy from things. When you grasp how this is already happening, right, you can intentionally give energy to things. But that's another conversation we can have later in the week. Are you guys with me? Did I lose you? Jamie, you look like you needed some sleep. or have I lost you? I don't know. You guys all right? I'm so glad that we have this second camera going for this group, because I want you guys to work for this. You guys are very much part of this, and you guys are reflecting other people who watch this. What you say is being reflected. And you're going to rewatch this yourself, and you'll completely get a different, just like Big John talked about, he just rewatched Imagination. You're just going to get a different insight. So you're going to rewatch this yourself and you'll see. Bless you.
I'm thinking the giving energy is just being. And then the taking energy, it's almost like the form, taking energies from form to formless. So it's kind of like taking in what it is and accepting and like.
Yeah. Keep pondering it. Keep pondering. Every answer is true. But I want you to go to the deepest point that we can arrive at as a group, where it's going to be as simple. And I already know what that deepest point, and that's the deepest point I've arrived at, right? So I'm sure there's deeper. You might even take it deeper, I don't know. But I want to get to a point where you're like, okay, you know how to, like, how do you be then? What is it? You just describe its being. Again, it's not wrong, but how do you be? We'll talk about this. What is being? So I want you to ponder on this. We've got a big day today. We're going out, do some adventure things, are we?
So we're looking at 11:30 pickup, but the next ADIS report comes out at 11 o'clock, and he's going to come.
Okay, no problem. ADIS is the weather report. So no problem. Okay, so we'll stand by on that one. But what I want you to do, if we don't fly today, you can ponder on this today, but even tomorrow, right? where we pick up from this, I want you to have pondered and go, but this is what it means. This is, again, I won't say what it means. This is what it is to take energy. And this is what it is to give energy. But before you do that, make sure you understand which one is taking, which one's giving. You all understand? You're working up towards the highest form of energy, which is formlessness. You're taking energy. It takes energy to climb up the mountain. But you can give energy climbing down because it's easy, it's effortless. It's funny, the highest flowing into form, it's effortless. It's because it's coming from the highest point, right? And remember, like I said yesterday, these 2 points, what flows between these 2 points is what's the flow. And the flow is constructing or deconstructing. All right? And that process of constructing or deconstructing is giving energy or taking energy. Which one is giving energy? Constructing. Which one's taking energy? Can you relate to that?
Yeah.
Fabulous nature. Love nature. My father always used to tell me, Amir, you want to learn about life? You want to learn about yourself? Study nature. All the answers are just there around you in nature. My dad's a very big nature's man. Loves nature. Also loves history. Also loves religion. Also loves... He's a very passionate man, my father. Probably the most passionate person I know in the world. He's just, if you meet him, he's just very passionate. He'll tell you how everything was born from Iran. In fact, the English language came from Iran. You know, it was... No, he's a very passionate man. And hopefully one day you get to meet my father as well, because I brought my mother on this trip. He's very passionate. He taught me passion. All right. This is as far as I'm going to take you on this part. And then we're going to pick up where we left off when you've pondered on those 2 things. So again, I'll reestablish one more time. Formless, construction and deconstruction, flowing or unflowing, form. Takes energy to go up, okay? Gives energy to go down. Construction, manifestation, is giving energy. Deconstruction, iceberg turning back into the water, deconstruction. And remember, deconstruction could be deconstruction of your limited ways. It could be deconstruction of having a disease, whatever, deconstructing a disease. It could be whatever. It takes energy. Okay, if you can just see that in your mind, so you know that, just own that before you then ask yourself the question. The pyramid is a beautiful thing that Bob Tate taught me in his book. And I was just like, because I was just like, yeah, you want to know that like instantly. Which one is giving energy? Or if you like, the one energy gives to manifest. All right? But what's been manifested to unmanifest, it takes energy. A lot of work. Think about all the emotional processes you go through. When you have some emotion come up here, how much energy does it take? When your emotions are deconstructing, it's like, oh man, I'm so tired. Takes energy. What we'll also be talking about is what happens when you don't use energy, stored energy. We'll be talking about that as well. There's more into this. All right? But first, you must identify what is it. You come up with the answer. What is it to give energy? What is it to give energy? What is it to take energy? Okay? I'll leave that with you. We'll pick up where we left off after our flying time. And those who are watching this, you fly in your mind. You go, fly, fly. Fly nice and high. All right?